Good evening, Grinders. Welcome to Monday Showdown Live. I'm Jordan Cooper, aka Blender Ed, aka hopefully unique and in first place in tonight's contest on DraftKings. And if you're on FanDuel, hopefully it'll be scored by next week. So hopefully that happens. I'm joined by Justin Van Zuden, aka STL Cards, for a Monday night. So this could have been a 2-game slate, but no, we have now 2 showdown slates. Tuesday night football, but no Thursday night football this week. I don't even know who's playing on Sunday, so they don't even have a slate up. I don't even know. Who knows if it's going to get scored correctly? It's a cluster. We have inactives though for the 8:15 Eastern time game. Justin, can you go through what do we need to know right now about our player pool? Who's in, who's out?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest news obviously came yesterday with Michael Thomas being a scratch for the Saints due to an internal disciplinary matter and not his injury, which was a bit of a shock. So that is kind of the big news that broke yesterday. Thankfully, if you've been building throughout the day, you kind of had time to analyze that, to put it into your lineups. Saints inactives, in addition to Thomas. The big names there. Adam Troutman was a DFS thing for a week.
I can't play Troutman tonight? I can't get all my money back playing Troutman tonight. Too bad.
It was a fish play from every sense of the word with Troutman. But he's inactive this week with Jared Cook back, so don't play him. Janoris Jenkins is out. Lattimore is in. So however you want to handle that in terms of your evaluation of the Saints defense, Jenkins is out, so they'll be on some backup defensive backs there. They've got some injuries at corner. Tyrod Taylor inactive again for the Chargers. One of their offensive tackles, Brian Bulaga, is out. No other real names of note for the Chargers. Pretty much no changes to what was expected there. I think this will just be a sample compared to what we're going to see headed up into tomorrow night's game, where there's a ton of questionable players. So tonight, outside of Thomas, which broke yesterday, and Troutman being inactive, not a whole lot of noteworthy things here.
Right, but Mike Williams is in. He was questionable. Jared Cook was questionable. He's in. So Moore, the 4th wide receiver for the Chargers, he's inactive. So if you were planning on playing him, if Mike Williams was active, take him out of your pool, which will push Jalen Guyton to the wide receiver 3 role when Williams was out. So obviously Eckler's done, so he's not in. So obviously we have. It seems like me and you, we have these Saints slates all the time, where essentially the lead is that all I do is I X out Taysom Hill and then I build lineups because I don't play the guy at 15% ownership that needs, one play to get in. But you have to think that the most popular captain choice, the highest floor ceiling combo player on the slate is Kamara. Is in low risk kind of cash contests. I mean, you really can't go wrong with Kamara, right?
No, you can't. I mean, he's going to be on almost every roster. There's not a whole lot of players that you sit here and think, well, I have to spend up on so-and-so, particularly with Thomas not in there. I think if Thomas was active, it would have been a really interesting conversation about how to handle him in his return versus Kamara and where the targets are going to go. But now we just don't. I mean, we just don't have that discussion. You look at Kamara's involvement in the passing game, and yeah, he didn't get as many targets last week, but still, he had 14 targets the week before, so he's going to be on. We've got him at 85% ownership on DraftKings, which is crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a number that high. So he is definitely the safe option at the top for sure.
Okay, and how about the backfield for the Chargers with Eckler out? So Kelly should step into a role that, first and second down, Justin Jackson will come out at spells. I mean, we don't really know how this backfield is going to shape out. I mean, it could be Kelly getting 80% of the work. It could be a 50-50 split. It could be 60-40. It could be Joshua Kelly fumbled the ball and Justin Jackson's in for the entire second half. So I think, at least from my perspective in the builds, I'm making 60, and I'm playing large field GPP. I'm way under on Kelly and way over on Jackson from a price perspective because on DraftKings, I mean, I'm taking a look here. The DraftKings you have Kelly is at 8,200 and Jackson's at 4,400. It's nearly double. Kelly probably has higher touchdown equity, goal line work, but at 8,200, like you need a touchdown from him, and if he catches two or three passes, okay, I guess that's fine. But I think I'm much more likely to take shots on a $4,400 Justin Jackson and hope they just split it down the middle. And Jackson, happens to get, touchdown in the red zone and gets a whole bunch of passes out of the backfield. And I just feel more comfortable with that. I think Kelly's going to go over-owned on this slate.
Yeah, he is. I mean, we've got Kelly at almost 3 times the ownership, and he's double the price. So that surprises me a little bit. Now, I'm a little bit biased, obviously, being a college football DFS guy, and Justin Jackson was a fantastic player in college fantasy for a few years there. And you look at the snaps last week after Eckler went down early in that game. Kelly played 30 snaps, and Jackson played 21 snaps. Certainly, Kelly would be the favorite for the majority of the touches because he was operating as the guy alongside Eckler before Eckler got hurt. But I don't think this is a team that's just going to go out there and roll a workhorse guy. Maybe if they get a lead, they stick with the hot hand a little bit. But I mean, you're 7-point underdogs in this game, so Jackson is a capable all-around guy. I think you take those ownerships with Kelly at 35 and Jackson at 14% in our tools, and you play Jackson. I totally agree with your approach there of going underweight on Kelly and overweight on Jackson.
And then in the passing game for the Chargers, I mean, we've seen Keenan Allen essentially is a target monster. Since Kamara is going to be probably the most popular captain choice, and it's going to be hard at 12K making him the captain with a 1.5x multiplier. Like I say this every time the Saints play. It's hard to make Kamara lineups and captain and be unique. There's just only so many combinations, even with the cheapo guys, that I think I'm much more likely. Like I have in my captain slot 3 times more Keenan Allen. Playing Keenan Allen, playing Kamara, fading Breeze. You play Herbert in the flex to go along with your Allen captain, and then you play a whole bunch of cheapies. And you do a build more like that. Because I think you're going to get... I mean, Keenan Allen's going to be the second most popular player on the slate. I mean, we have him at nearly 70% owned. But in the captain, he may only be like 14 or something, 16 in the captain. I think I can make more unique builds or less likely to be duplicated builds with Allen. Fade a 10-4 noodle arm Drew Brees and hope he doesn't go for 300 yards. He'll have to pass 74 times in order to get there. So I'll take the Herbert side. And if this continues where Allen gets like nearly a 40% market share of targets, like I think Allen has almost as high of a ceiling as Kamara does in this game.
Yeah, he's got a great ceiling, and I prefer Herbert to Breeze as well. I mean, you look at just their skill sets at this stage of their career, and Breeze doesn't have Michael Thomas to bail him out, so Herbert is my preferred quarterback of the two, and you compare him up with Allen, or you compare him up with some of the lower owned guys. I think that's where potentially difference makers are going to happen on this slate, whether it's Mike Williams, team air yards. You want to go with Mike Williams, go for it. Jalen Guyton is at least going to be on the field a fair amount, which I'm sure maybe he's not as appealing now as he would have been, if Williams wouldn't have played. But he's going to get some snaps and at 4,200 and Williams at 5K. I mean, I think those guys can be difference makers, particularly if you're looking to go underweight on Keenan Allen. And I'm not telling you to do that, but we know that there's some potential there, particularly with Williams, with his ability to go up and get the ball and potentially score some touchdowns. But how healthy is he? If you don't think he's fully healthy, then maybe you play some Guyton. I think you get some exposure to these guys.
And then you also have Hunter Henry at 7,800. That if you're not putting Keenan Allen in the lineup, I think Henry is more likely to get the targets that Allen would be getting. I think that's fine. And if you don't play Allen in your lineup, then you should be playing Kelly or Jackson. You play the running game more. But we know that the Saints historically in the past couple of years are better against the run than the pass. And we also know that the Chargers are like the complete opposite. Typically, the Chargers drop 7 into coverage, and perimeter receivers are typically, like the guys like Sanders, Traquan Smith, like they're gonna have to deal with, bracket coverage. They're gonna have to deal with, difficult matchups. They're not getting linebackers on them. So, like, I'm looking more like on the Chargers for, the passing game, and then the Saints on more of the middle of the field. And I think Jared Cook's ownership is going to be lower than it would normally be, even at 6,200. I believe he has the most air yards on the team compared to Sanders and Smith and even Michael Thomas. And if people are going to shy away from Jared Cook because, he's coming off an injury, it's quite possible he goes out there and only plays 40% of the snaps. I mean, because he's working back an injury. But I actually think Adam Troutman being inactive this game
that's what I was just gonna say.
makes
They must be
it
pretty
more
confident.
comfortable. I mean, like that they only have Cook and Hill now, and obviously Taysom Hill, which is like he doesn't necessarily play a position. But if they had 3 tight ends active, then maybe okay, Cook may not see everything, but if Troutman's out, I mean, I think 6,200 for Cook. I think compared to the ownership, we have Sanders at 43%. We have Traquan Smith at 31%. Jared Cook's at 25%. And I truthfully think that based on the way that the Chargers, cover receivers, I think compared to ownership, I think Cook's the better play out of the 3 of them.
Yeah, I think Cook's fine, and like I just said, if Troutman's inactive, they must be feeling pretty good about his health status. And I think those are your tight end plays. Obviously, with Troutman being inactive, Parham scored a touchdown last week, but literally only played 1 snap. I would not bank on that happening again. Even though he's only $1,200, I am not going to play a guy that only played 1 snap last week. I'd probably play Josh Hill as a speculative option before I played Parham, but that's really not saying a whole lot. So I don't mind it. I mean, you got if you want to go to the cheap seats, with some pass catchers. Let's see. I was looking at the snap counts for these lower end Saints receivers. Marquez Callaway 15 last week, Deontay Harris 14, and Benny Fowler 10. So there you go. Benny Fowler's $200. How many Benny Fowler captain lineups?
Well, now I don't have him in captain, but I got a bunch of Callaway and Fowler because Harris is injured. So, like in 3 wide receiver sets, I mean, it's going to be Callaway and Fowler out there. And to me, the Saints are the trolliest team in the NFL. They're the ones where touchdown computer generated guy, like it's always that. So like I'm much more likely to take shots on these cheap Saints guys than take the shot on the Tryon Johnson. He had like 1 catch for a touchdown. He was on the field for 8 snaps. Well, I mean, you can do that, but I think I'm much more likely to look at the cheapies on the Saints than I am for the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, if you say that, right? Okay, so Callaway 15 snaps, Harris 14, and Fowler 10 last week.
Well, Harris is gone, so all those snaps are going to go to other people.
If you take those 14 Harris snaps out, that puts Callaway and Fowler, closer to 20. And then, maybe it depends on game flow how much they have to use those 3 wide receiver sets. Or they have to use 2 tight ends and, use more Hill. One of those cheap Saints guys is probably going to get there and get there in relative terms being, Fowler's $200, Callaway's $600, Hill's $800, Josh Hill, that is. And then Taysom Hill's, whatever he is, $1,600. And I know you're not going there, but that's where the ownership's probably going to go. So I don't mind playing one of those cheap pass catchers.
Right, and then if you want to do a complete opposite type of game script, you go with Lat Murray. I mean, he's gotten a little bit more expensive. He's 4,800. He's been seeing the field like 40% of the time. So, like, Latavius Murray is not a bad play. You could play him with Kamara. I probably wouldn't play him with Kamara and the captain. But, I mean, he's going to be owned. I mean, we have him at 26% projected ownership. So it's not like he's going to be like sneaky or anything. But if you wanted to play, Lat Murray without Kamara, I think that's perfectly fine. But you're fading the receivers at that point. So like I will have some Latavius Murray, but I'm focused primarily on the Chiefs passing game, the Chargers passing game, and the Saints kind of middle of the field game. And I also think in this game with a 49 total in the dome, I think the defenses are going underowned. I think the Saints we have projected at 15, Chargers at 9, and I mean these aren't bad defenses. The Saints get pressure. It's a rookie quarterback. The Chargers have Bosa back this game, and it's not like Breeze is the most elusive quarterback there is. So at
Yeah,
3,600
the
and
noodle arm
2,800,
QB is always good for a pick six opportunity somewhere in the game.
right? And they're coming in underowned. I mean the kickers are under 20%. So I was
Except for
talking.
blenders lineups.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm trying. I made so many groups that I'm getting like so much Will Lutz that I almost think it's a premonition, right? Because like nothing I do is not getting me like 60% Will Lutz for no apparent reason. But maybe that's a sign.
He's getting the 350 yarders tonight.
Well, he at all the kickers. I mean, is Badgley that good? I don't know. It doesn't really. It's a game flow thing. Like if I'm going to play a ton of Lutz, like I'm not going to play the Saints receivers. Like you could play Kamara, Lutz together. Like from a lineup construction perspective, uh, what are the ways that you're looking to get different? Because like I said, have you been able to build a Kamara lineup that you look at and go, no one's going to play this one?
Right, because those are the lineups that, particularly if you put him in the captain, which is 18K on DraftKings. So if I do that, I've only got $6,400 for and if you do Kamara and Keenan Allen, and you want to play, one of the quarterbacks, okay, you got Kamara who's going to be 85% owned, Keenan Allen who's going to be 75% owned, and one of the quarterbacks, they're both going to be pretty high owned. Pick your favorite. And then, everybody's going to do the same thing after that. Pick your favorite punt play. Okay, $200 Benny Fowler. And then, you got a lineup that's just going to look identical to what a whole lot of other people are building tonight. So it's really interesting because of normally we see on these slates, like the popular guys are 55, 60, 65% owned, but now Kamara, like in some higher dollar stuff, he might touch 90, which is crazy. It's almost like you're just building a 5-man lineup instead of 6. So, maybe the way to get different is just, and this would definitely be different, is to go like 4 or 5 Chargers and hope they just beat the doors off of the Saints. Probably not going to happen, but like if you did a 4 Chargers lineup or a 5 Chargers lineup, like that's going to look different.
Or you could do a 5 Saints lineup. I mean, you could do it with a non-Kamara captain. I think someone asked in the chat in YouTube. If you're on YouTube right now, hit the thumbs up button, the subscribe button, any button, pick any button. Just type and bang your head against the keyboard. That's fine. It helps us out. But talking about like quarterbacks in the captain, and at 10-4 and 10-2, like I rarely play quarterbacks in the captain to begin with. And I can't possibly see, like, if it beats me, it beats me. It's just that it's always overowned. Like, the quarterback captain slots are always overowned. If you play Herbert in the captain, you pretty much have to play Allen. If you play Breeze in the captain, you're probably still going to play Kamara in the flex spot. And how do you get different? I mean, you're paying, 15K plus for a captain. Like, they have to put up 303 to like even be relevant not even like within the realm of possible. 303, a wide receiver still may beat them. So I mean, you could do it. I just never do, because it's if it was cheaper and they were less owned, I consider it. Yeah, maybe Herbert rushes it in. Okay, I could see that. But like I'm looking to this is one of the few slates where like I'm trying to get my quarterback ownership and exposure down further without having lineups that I'm leaving like 10,000 on the table, because I still think from a raw points perspective, the quarterbacks are still, good raw points plays. But I just don't think this is the type of slate where a quarterback is going to be necessary.
Somebody's asking now, can you fade both quarterbacks? So, I mean, you're certainly not doing that in every lineup if you're building a lot. But let's say you're building one lineup. Do you have to play a quarterback?
Well, it depends on who's in my captain spot. If I'm playing Allen, the captain, I'm going to play Herbert in the flex. Like if I'm playing a receiver on one of the teams, the one quarterback I'd play is the one that's correlated with the captain. The lineups that don't, the lineups that have running backs in the captain, then you can fade both of them. Fade both quarterbacks. Who cares, right? If you're playing Justin Jackson or Joshua Kelly in the captain, like there you go. You just fade both quarterbacks, and you play Kamara, you play Allen, and you just hope that most of the production comes through the ground game. Or you play Will, or maybe you play Will Lutz at captain.
Play Will Lutz or a
right?
defense.
Apparently, the lineup builder, based on my groups, somehow wants me to play as much Will Lutz as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can get away with no quarterback. There's a little bit of risk involved, obviously, but most of your lineups that you'll see, they're going to be 60% owned. So you're going to have, say 25% of lineups with both quarterbacks and 65% of lineups with only one quarterback or with one quarterback and 10% of lineups with neither one. So you inherently make your lineup a little bit different there, and then leave some salary on the table, and maybe you got something cooking if it's an uglier game. Which, I mean, when's the last time we've seen a total under 50 in New Orleans? It's been a long time. I know it's 49.5, so technically speaking, but that's a pretty low number.
Beatboz in the YouTube chat asked me if I have any Lat Murray shares. I play everyone. I have 60 lineups. I have everyone. So
except Hill. Except
Taysom Hill, because I automatically X him out. Rod 133 asks, how much salary left over do I feel comfortable? I don't care about salary. I care about uniqueness. So I currently I have lineups that I've left 7,000 on the table. So it's to me it's not a matter of like if I'm fading both quarterbacks and I'm playing only one of Kamara and Allen, like it's kind of hard to spend all your salary. It just ends up that way because you're just not paying up for only one of the guys that's 9K or above. But it's going to make you more unique, and Emmanuel Sanders could go for 100 yards. I mean, he could be the highest scorer on the slate. Justin Jackson could go for 2 touchdowns on, 8 catches, 50 yards, and he could be the highest scoring player on the slate. Traquan Smith could have 2 touchdowns. Hunter Henry. I mean, there's so many ways for these 5K to 7K type guys to end up being the highest scoring player. So when you plug them in captain, and then once you jam in Kamara or Allen, like you could leave 5,000 on the table. I mean, you can. I mean, if you're playing large field stuff, you have to be thinking, does the lineup make sense? Not how much money do I have left? I will decrease that. Sometimes I'll have lineups with 10,000 on the table if it makes sense. If I don't think it's going to be duplicated.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think, salary is almost not an issue on these single game slates. So definitely don't feel like you need to change that spot to use up all your salary. It's a hard concept to really get down for a lot of people, but there's so much variance in these single game slates that don't be afraid to leave. I don't think I have any with 10K on the table, but that's, if you got 6K, 5K, 7K on the table, I mean, it's not a bad move in quotes there.
I just ran my build again. I got down to 48% Will Lutz now, Justin. I was able to do it. I was able to do it. I got to get even more, but I'm getting more Michael Badgley. So, it just loves the kickers. Do we trust Mike Williams today with his hamstring injury? To me, it's not a matter of trusting him. It's a matter of does the field trust him? I think in those terms. Mike Williams, if Mike Williams played 3 snaps and then was out for the rest of the game, I'm not shocked, right? We wouldn't be shocked. I played Sammy Watkins yesterday. When he got a hamstring injury, I wasn't shocked. I was disappointed. At least he got a touchdown. But to me, I think of it in terms of, is the rest of the field considering concerned, and does that reflect in his ownership? So I'm going to assume that Mike Williams is going to be under-owned for his price because, I mean, we're talking about Mike Williams at 5,000. If he was 8,000, okay, that's a little different story. But at 5,000, especially with his ADOT being, he's a high ADOT, takes deep targets.
Yeah, he's the perfect guy for tournaments. I
Right.
mean,
Especially if he's going to, like Mike Williams, we have him currently projected owned at 37% at 5,000. If Mike Williams was completely healthy and there was nothing, I think that ownership would be 57%. So, like, to me, you're getting the discount on the ownership for the quote concerns, and I'm willing to take. I'm willing to take the risk.
His floor is 0, bad hamstring or not. So what the heck?
Right. He's redacted in so many models that if he gets you 0 points, but how often does he work? Is it worth the 37-ish% ownership? I mean, same for Sanders. I think Sanders is going to be popular. We currently have him at like 34%. I think he's going to be way more than that. Seeing the 9-target game in the last game, I mean, he's going to be more popular than Traquan Smith. So, like, temper your expectations on Sanders. I think people are going to play that, and I'm going with the narrative or not. If I'm using DVOA or not, I just think that the Chargers with Joey Bosa back, they put pressure on the front line without blitzing. So they're going to have a lot of guys into coverage. And especially with Breeze not pushing the ball down the field, I think the probability of a Saints receiver having a ceiling game is lower in this game than in other games. So that makes me more not wanting to play those types of guys in captains.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's the offense just looks totally different now, and it takes a lot more for them to move the ball down the field. So I agree.
Then people are talking about playing Captain Cook or Murray. Yeah, you could do it. If you play large field, you know what I'm going to say, Justin, right?
Play whoever you want.
Right. I mean, are they active for the game? Like I said, you could play that Johnson guy for the Chargers. Just understand he may only be on the field for 3 snaps. But at those 3 snaps, he has 2 touchdowns, then you're going to need him. Or 1 touchdown, you're going to need him. So, I mean, like, do you play him or do you play Jalen Guyton at 9% ownership? He's 4,200. Is he worth 4,200? Probably not. But that's going to lower his ownership. Marquez Callaway is 5% owned. Betty Fowler, 9% projected. Josh Hill, 2% projected. Like, if you're building lineups with, like, Kamara and the captain, Allen and the captain, you have to find those guys. I mean, unless you're building a negative EV lineup that's going to be duplicated 140 times or 238 times. I'm not saying you play the kickers and the captains, but I mean, if you wanted to play, I'm not playing any defense captains, but I mean, if you wanted to, I don't think that's nuts. So people are asking me, like, any Josh Hill in my lineup. People are asking me, why people ask me who's in my lineup. Everyone's in my lineup. I'm playing 60 lineup. I got everyone that's active pretty much in at least one lineup out of 60. So, like,
I'm
the answer is yes to everything.
Surprising they're not playing any defense captain. You like to roll a little defense captain.
Maybe I should add that. Maybe that'll get more.
That'll get you less Lutz.
That's I'm going to try that now. I got to put them back. I got to make groups for that now because I don't want to play defenses against. I'm going to have to set up way more stuff. I'll do it after the show. All right. Maybe that's what I should be doing. If I make defense captains, I want to get the damn kickers, which I don't mind. I just don't necessarily want kickers in like half my lineups. Any backup tight ends or running backs tonight, playing one of each? Well, yeah, we talked about it. I mean, the backup tight end for the Chargers is Virgil Green. I got none of him. So hopefully he doesn't do well. I'm more likely to, like I said before, I'm more likely to take more shots on the cheap Saints guys because they're troll central than the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers were troll central last week, but I mean, now Mike Williams is back. So like Moore is inactive and he was 200 and Guyton's 4,200. And it's just like, Guyton, really? He was on the field like 80% of the time and got like 2 targets. Like, how do I play him at 4,200 over Mike Williams? Like, that just seems stupid to me. I'll have him in 2 lineups. Like, don't ask me. Someone in chat's going to say, do I have him Jalen Guyton? Yeah, he's currently in 4 lineups. So even though I badmouthed him, he still fits in 4 lineups. Hey, he's like the same salary as Will Lutz. He's nearly there, so I need to have more of him in order to get Will Lutz.
Yeah, there you go. You're gonna end up with 20 Guytons. I mean, yeah, the salary's a little bit more than you feel comfortable playing, but if you got those lineups with 5-6K on the table, you can put some Guyton in there. Like, if he's going to be on the field, he could fall into something.
Right.
You just is the median projection all that high? No. But if he falls into the end zone or breaks a long one, or variance on these single game slates, you got to play some Guyton. I'm surprised we've only got him at like 9%. I figured maybe a touch higher than that. I suppose I should refresh to see if we've updated. Yeah, still at 9. So I don't mind it. I'd be overweight on 9.
So I was asking if I have any Chargers Onslaught teams. I don't know yet. I'm still working on my lineups.
See, that's what I was asking. I like that Chargers Onslaught team. I don't. It's not the most likely, obviously. It's a 7-point underdog. They're not the most likely Onslaught team, but I just don't think the Saints are all that good.
But if you play a Chargers Onslaught, you're playing that with Kamara, right? I mean, like, that's the one.
Well, sure.
The 5-1 is with Kamara. I mean, who else would you play? And I think you could do a 5-1 Onslaught the other way and play Keenan Allen as the one.
Yeah, that's fair. No doubt. I don't mind. I mean, the 5 Saints build will be more common than the 5 Chargers build will be.
Oh, that absolutely. I agree with that completely. And people are asking, why don't I like Taysom Hill? It's because he's always overowned. If he was the same ownership as Benny Fowler and Marquez Callaway, I'd play him.
But he's better. Maybe he's better than those guys.
It's the same median. Like, I take a look at the median projection between Taysom Hill and those other cheapies, and then the same. But Taysom Hill, is 20% owned, 18%. I mean, it's not like he's mega owned, but he's twice as owned as the other cheapies. So, like, to me, it's negative EV to play him. If he beats me, he beats me. Go beat him.
I think there's somebody out there that pays off Peyton in these primetime games to get Taysom Hill involved. That's the only answer.
Yeah, but it hasn't happened. Someone mentioned that in chat. Justin, we've had, this is like, I think our third Showdown show with the Saints. Or at least Keith had one. I mean, this is like the third show I've done with the Saints. It's not the second. I think it's the third. Every time, fade Taysom Hill. And like it hasn't happened the last 2 times. If you fit the last one, it was like 22% owned and got a 0. So if I can knock out 22% of lineups, if today's Taysom Hill day, then I lose. Okay, so be it. But I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, clearly he's due.
Oh, he's due. I thought he's on a losing streak. I mean, it's one of the two. Whenever anyone says that he's due, I go, well, what happens if he's on a slump? Maybe it's a slump because people think in those terms. Oh, I can't play this guy. He's had 3 bad games in a row. So doesn't that mean he's due? And they go, no, he's in a slump. Like, so what's the difference? You can justify whichever way you want, just like any other type of degenerate gambler.
I started laughing because my dad started doing this. He got some promo from DraftKings Sportsbook and said, I'm gonna, I deposited the $50 or whatever it was and got the free bet. That basically took him up to $100. And he says, all right, I'm gonna bet these football games, and he's already got a never again list. Like, the Cowboys are on the never again list. The Bears are on the never again list. It's been like 5 weeks and he's got 4 teams on the never again list. I'm like, oh, you're going to have the whole team crossed out by about week 10. But you got to have a short memory in these sort of things and put the previous week. So, yeah, I was joking, full disclosure, when I said that he's due. I'm not really a Taysom Hill guy either. But each week is an independent event. So just because he hasn't performed in the last 2 does not mean he is more likely to do so this time. I was just joking to play devil's advocate there for full disclosure. I don't want to confuse anybody.
Lucas is asking if it's suicide to fade Kamara in 20 max. I have plenty of lineups without Kamara. Do you want to win? Do you want to win first place? Kamara is going to be the highest owned. If he doesn't get there and you have lineups without him, you have immense amounts of leverage. So it's high variance. If Kamara does well, those lineups, they're dead. But if Kamara doesn't do well, you have a good shot at soloing first place for God knows how much money. So go do it. And then Jason,
I would leverage a lot of Murray if you're doing that. I think you got to play a lot of Murray if you're fading Kamara, or a lot of the other pass catchers for the Saints.
And then Jason Garnett asks, is Kamara at MVP? So FanDuel. On FanDuel, it's very unique slate on FanDuel.
Because
You could.
everybody's gonna have 0 points.
No,
Oh, I can't.
you're ruining my joke. You've ruined my joke. Oh, I was gonna say you could play anyone in MVP because they're all gonna get the same score, so it doesn't matter. You're gonna get what, two x the zero. So anything. Who knows what happens on FanDuel? Are they going to score tonight? I think they're still manually scoring the main slate from yesterday. But yeah, like the obvious highest median floor ceiling combo player is Kamara on FanDuel without having to pay more for them. But it's 5 slots. It's like, how do you get unique on FanDuel? It's like it's just a rake fest there. So that's why I don't like talking about FanDuel much, because like for the large field stuff, it's like, how do you not get duplicated 600 times? I mean, unless someone gets injured and you played the backup that only gets 1 snap that gets a 90-yard touchdown. Like, that's like the only way that happens. But everyone's asking who's the best guy in the captain's side. It's obviously Kamara. Like that, in a vacuum, that would be the best captain. The question is that how do you build a lineup that isn't duplicated a million times? But if you're playing small field single entry, you could build a Kamara lineup that maybe is only duped 4 times. So that would be
like
fine.
The FanDuel lineup, right? Kamara and the captain, Herbert, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Traquan Smith. Zeroed out salary. How many times is that duplicated?
Right. I mean, it's going to be, but people will play. People will look at that and go, "That's the best lineup." Not realizing that 1,900 people have it also, and then then you get 1,900 screenshots about how everyone won $68. So it's like you're paying the same amount. I want to make it clear. You're paying the same amount of entry fee, but the more that your lineup is duplicated, it caps how much you could possibly win. So if I play 60 lineups, most likely at least half of them in the DK one, at least half of them have a shot to win at least 6 figures. So it may not be so low, but it duplicated 10 times. So my $10 equals that. You're playing a lineup that's going to be duplicated 700 times. You're paying the same amount that I am, but you're going to win $702. I mean, like you're getting a 71 payout. I'm getting a way higher payout. It's not going to happen as often. So just to highlight that, is it suicide to fade Kamara? It's like he'll fail a certain percentage of the time. And that certain percentage, that lineup could win you a lot of money. Is it going to be tonight? Who knows if it's going to be tonight? I don't know. He get injured on the first play. We don't know that. So if you want to build lineups, if you have 20 lineups and you want to build 5 without Kamara, go for it. Just know that those 5 lineups
20. You build 20 without Kamara and he gets hurt on the first play, you're already going to the register to collect your winnings.
And roster watch is here. Alex is hold on. It's Blender Head and not Blender HD. That's correct. It's Blender Head.
So the first time I was not aware of this either at first, and the first time we did a show, I thought you said Blender Ed, and I'm like, whoa, his name's Ed. Like I thought his name was Jordan, but apparently it's Ed. And then no, it's Blender Head. I got it.
No, but the Twitter name is taken. It's taken by some guy that hasn't tweeted since 2009.
So where did Blender Head come from?
Blender Head is a track on a Bad Religion album. So if you make your own company, you make your own LLC, like you get to name it. So I didn't want to name it Jordan Cooper LLC. So I'm like, I was doing digital marketing, so it's like blah 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 media. So I'm like, what sounds good? And it's like just like if you're in the punk rock scene, a lot of times you name your band after like your favorite song from another band or that type of stuff. So I just like, let me look. My favorite band's Bad Religion. I like what sounds good. Oh, Blenderhead. It's not their best song, but it's okay. Blenderhead Media, done. And then you try to go on Twitter and get Blenderhead, and you can't. So I'm like, how do I do I do Blenderhead _ I hate the underscores. So I'm like, just Blenderhead without the E and the A, and then there you go. And then obviously for branding purposes, you make everything the same so that everyone knows where to follow you at different places. And then people said Blender HD because they thought it's high definition blending. And then it's easier to say that. If I said follow me on Twitter at Blenderhead, Blender H, like I just say H, it doesn't matter. Call me as long as I'm in first place tonight, I don't care what you call me. So there you go. There's
I just
story.
let you
People
hold
have heard
on.
the story
Hold
before.
on a minute. It's Blenderhead and not Blender HD ?
Right. Does it matter?
Somebody wants you to do the Manscaped ad again. I must have missed this.
On the ASA show 2 weeks ago. I do.
You didn't get suspended for 2 weeks, did you?
No, because I did it well. Because I had to do it. No,
well, Rappaport got suspended for 2 weeks.
Here's the trick. Here's the trick. I listen to so many podcasts. I'm subscribed to 100 podcasts. I hear podcast ads all the time. If I know if it's going to be an ad, you could skip over this stuff, right? So the most important factor of podcast advertising is getting people to at least listen to the ad. So if I could just do it in an over-the-top way that's completely just like sarcastically, facetious and everything and get overexcited, see, people are talking about it and it's 2 weeks later. That means I did the ad very well. It doesn't matter whether or not you buy it, but the first thing to do is you gotta get people to hear it.
I don't know. I mean, you Google it, and the first thing you see is something called the Lawnmower 3.0, and I have many questions right off the bat that aren't appropriate for this show, but we'll save those. But hey, if you read it well, then that's all that counts. People are talking about it.
Right. Do you guys do you cap how much you spend on Showdown, or do you play the same amounts as the main slate? I don't play high volume on Showdown. Showdown is so high variance. That and you're aiming for first place, and if you don't win first, like you lose money. So yeah, like that's why I'm playing 60 lineups. I'm not playing anywhere close to the volume I do on Showdown slates like I do for the main ones.
Somebody also asking if 2,200 is too much to leave on the table.
Dude, I have lineups that 7,000 on the table.
Yeah, that's no problem at all. Don't worry about 2,200 on the table.
If Will Lutz is in half my lineups, I must have left a ton of money, right? Oh, do I play Keenan Allen or do I play Will Lutz? Apparently, I'm playing Will Lutz in that spot.
You need to. Yeah, you're probably. Well, hopefully you've gotten down under your threshold there for Lutz. Otherwise, you might have to manually edit some of those. But
I'm gonna have to do that after the show. Eric's playing the most entries for me for him so far in the Showdown because he's a Saints fan. That's not a good reason to do it. I'm just I'm a fan of winning money. I don't care what the team. But if you want to do that, hey, it's entertainment. Go for it. But I'm like, oh, it's my favorite team because apparently someone's favorite team was the Steelers and Chase Claypool and Travis Fulgham, whatever. That worked. That worked yesterday for someone, right? The Steelers guy won $1 million playing both of those guys together at sub 0.5% ownership. So I don't want to knock you. Go onslaught the Saints and play a 5-1 and maybe you win.
Or onslaught Chargers 5-1 and maybe you win.
Yeah, maybe the Chargers fans that are out there.
Yeah, the three of them. You never know.
See, Daniel Johnson is being honest in the chat. I'm playing Showdown tonight because I'm a degenerate. That makes sense, right? See, everyone's chiming in.
That's why we're here. That's why we're all here.
Right. If you're a degenerate, hit the thumbs up button. Right.
Mash the keyboard, punch the screen.
Right. And if you're playing on FanDuel tonight, you have to hit that twice because after what is currently happening, and the fact that there's no 1.5 multiplier, it's like FanDuel has made the money machine go with are people going to pay rake even though they're tied 700,000 times? I guess so. How about if we let's add no scoring? Let's see what happens now. Have you checked FanDuel? Are there contests? Because this is the cycle. What ends up happening, Justin, is that people say there's no way I can play on FanDuel now after what they did yesterday, and then people look, and then their contests are only 55% filled with an hour left, and go overlay, and then everyone fills it up. So, I want to see what's going on over there, what their contests look like.
They say they are expecting to offer periodic live scoring tonight. We'll see how that works.
Periodic. Because it's one game. They probably have some guy in a conference room somewhere that's tallying stuff up.
Their Monday Million is about 80% full right now.
Right.
I mean, it's gonna get close if it doesn't fill. So
right, but it's not going to be like major overlay. I think that ends up being rake free or something.
Right, yeah. This sounds about right.
And Mazbadawi 24. Sorry if I missed it, guys. Was a little late. How do you guys feel about either defense and utility? As I said before, I think the defenses are going under-owned.
Yeah, I don't mind them at all. I think the defense is. I think you can even captain the defense if you want to get a little frisky.
Right. That's what I
So
have to do after the show. You told I
right,
wasn't planning on doing it, but now I'm going to do it. If that gets Will Lutz out of my lineups, then that's all I care about.
yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
So Eric Johnson said they're going to do live scoring only during commercials. This
So
is a multi-billion
that
dollar
doesn't make it
company.
live.
This is a multi-billion dollar company. There's gonna be some intern in an office that's like, oh, during the commercials, I'm gonna, oh, Kamara has 13 yards rushing and 26 yards passing, and I don't know. Is it bad for me to talk bad about them? It's nuts.
It would, I like to play the PC role in these cases with, with being a DFS guy for a while, but it's to me the biggest issue was not communicating beforehand. If they would have done a good job of communicating it beforehand, I think it would have at least quelled the anger. And those of us who played college football on Saturday, kind of saw it coming, and it would have been nice if they would have communicated that, hey, our live scoring experience is going to be down today, or possibly, significantly delayed. I don't think that communication really, it was just posted in a little note on the site about an hour before lock. So I think they could have done a better job with that. Things happen, but hopefully they learn from it and they get a backup plan in place for the next time that it happens. And because if that happens again, I can't imagine that that'd be easy to recover from that twice.
Right. So, any last questions on YouTube before we get out of here? You get people come late and they think Jared Cooks is a good play. Yes, we do. I mean, anyone could be a good play, but I mean, I think he's going to be underowned because people are going to be concerned about his injury, and the fact that Adam Troutman is inactive. I think that says a good thing. Doesn't mean he doesn't get re-injured. 3 plays in,
Right.
he's injured. I mean, that could happen. Sure. And Eric Lynn is asking about the range of the sliders in Lineup HQ. You should look at, if you're a premium member, because you're using Lineup HQ, go look for, me and Tambo did a nearly 2-hour Lineup HQ tutorial last month. Look for it on the videos page under tutorials, and we go over literally everything. Like, we go through an entire NFL build. Obviously, Showdown builds are a little bit, a little bit weirder because of captains and flexes. But like, all the features go over, like, when I use that and when I use this. And a lot of times it depends on the lineups that you're trying to build. I'm trying to build non-Will Lutz lineups, and I'm even having a trouble with Lineup HQ not getting 48% of Will Lutz.
You better get on fixing that.
Okay, so I'm gonna go fix that, Justin. Good luck in your contest, as long as you're not in my contests, or come in second, or come in for. I always have to say this because I don't want to. I get to the point to end the show, and I feel like I need to say good luck because everyone says good luck, but I don't mean it. Like, how do you get past that? You're an RGOG. How do you know? How do you have 150 lineups into a contest doing a show where thousands of people are watching, and you could go, well, good luck to you, and you're sitting there going, well, I want to win tomorrow.
Yeah, it's maybe you're probably being a little more honest with yourself than everybody else is when they're just kind of giving that cordial good luck, and maybe they got their fingers crossed behind their back or something. Yeah, I'm gonna win and you guys can finish second. That's what everybody's thinking, but they don't want to say. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I'd be fine if one of the people out there builds a $1 million winner with me, and maybe me and me and you both land on the same lineup and it's not duped. Then the conspiracy theories will start. So we probably don't want that. But maybe me and one other person out there, we can share the 500K, and then you can come third.
Or at least I think the nicer way of saying it is that if I don't win, I hope one of you guys win. Like, yeah. I'm rooting. Like, I actually am rooting. Like, if I don't happen to win tonight, I'm actually rooting for RG subscribers and people that watch the show. If I had a choice, it would be It would be Kirk Swenson in chat. It would be Ryan Zake in chat. It would be Daniel Johnson in chat. Stephen Smith. I want one of you guys. If as long as I don't win, you guys win. If some other people, then I wish. Let's wish all of them bad luck. From everyone at RG, wish everyone else that's not watching this bad luck, and you can do that by hitting the thumbs up button. See, I even got that in. So there you go. Justin V says Blender Ed says good luck. Okay, so let's see what happens tonight. Saints Chargers. There's a Tuesday night football game tomorrow. I'm not sure if there's going to be a show. It'll be on the schedule if there is one. It may be with me. It may be with Britt. It may be with someone. I'm not really sure what it's going to be. But if there is one, tune in tomorrow, and you don't get Thursday night foot. So maybe they're going to move it over. It's going to be something like that. I have no idea what the NFL, who knows if they're playing tomorrow? Who knows if they're playing on Sunday? We have no idea. But let me fix my lineup so I can get Will Lutz out of there. This has been Monday Showdown Live. I'm Jordan Cooper with Justin Van Zuden, STL Cards on Rotogrinders.com.